Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holiday that you observe here at the end of the year. Um, we have had a blessed time to reflect and, just to be able to have a couple of days off. And um, I have unfortunately not made a podcast this last week because one of the things that I do is I really try to think through and analyze many of the topics that we discuss, but also what can be the most helpful conversation that we have. I don't want to just come on here and ramble. I mean, in a way, especially when I am the sole host of this podcast, there's a certain element that there is going to be some rambling, but I would rather bring content that not only informs you as a citizen of the US or even around the world if you're picking up my podcast in other countries, but to understand the widespread situation of what's going on and has been going on for a number of years and what we're up against. And so, for that reason, not only that, I was working some longer days due to the Christmas holiday. So, the time that I would often in the afternoon is when I would tend to record my podcast and get them uploaded. I was staying out at least about an hour late to get the work done so that we could have the Christmas holiday off. And then I've also not been in the location where I record these podcasts, which is connected to the internet, that makes it a little bit easier to be able to work with the AI software that I love so much, to be able to make me sound better, to be able to add the music, to get it fixed up so that we can load it up to Spotify and YouTube and the other platforms where you find this podcast. So it's just a little explanation of what's been going on. I find it very, very interesting that during this period, this is a very crucial period, especially for America, but also around the world. It is interesting that years ago, when we were under the constitutional republic, that the inauguration for our president was actually on March the 4th. It's been moved up to January the 20th. And in many ways, we can be grateful because holy cow, the amount of stuff that goes on between November the 5th and January 20th is absolutely ridiculous. And so imagine if we had to wait till March the 4th in order to get our new president elected. I guess we Americans got impatient with that and decided to move things up. And so we do have that going on. But this is a very interesting time because what I found, at least in our local areas here in North Carolina, that every single talk show, every single talk show that's in the local area took off basically on Christmas Eve all the way through January the 6th. So they got fill ins, different talk shows, newsrooms, whatever they're filling in for them. And, I understand every single person needs a break. I need a break. That's partly why I took some days off myself to just be able to rest and to reflect and to crash a little bit because our bodies too need some rest. Um, but here we are. We're on you know, the eve of New Year's Day. This is December the 29th on a Sunday morning that I recorded this podcast. And here we are. It's almost hard to believe it's going to be 2025 in basically like 3 days. So that's absolutely incredible. It's amazing. It's been a long journey for us to get to 2025, but there's still a lot that is going to happen in the next like 23 days. There is a lot of vicious rhetoric going on from particularly our opponents on the left who have their own agenda, who believe that certain things are happening, that believe that certain things have happened. We also have the final days of fake Joe Biden. Um, and I say that for a reason because if you do your research and if you have paid attention, you will know what I mean by the fake Joe Biden. And whoever who is actually running our country, it does appear that Jill has been signing a lot of the executive orders and things together with his name that she has been meeting with the cabinet. She has been involved a lot in running our country, and we didn't elect her. So why is that being allowed to happen? And is she just the face? Like Joe was largely the face. Remember, Joe would say, I'm going to get in trouble for this. Who was it that was going to get him in trouble? You see, in many ways, to understand where we are today in 2025, we have to go back throughout the last few years and understand what has gone in and what has happened to our country. More and more people are realizing that Barack Obama was not who we thought he was. That he himself said that his goal for America was to fundamentally destroy America. He said that, and why that was not considered to be an issue. Um, and a lot of it is because the race card was pulled. Anytime that you tried to call out and show the American people the truth about who Barack Obama is, you were called a racist. The truth of the matter is that attack, just like being called a fascist, being called garbage, being called any other name, has actually been it's gotten old. It's just it doesn't even affect us anymore because we realize and we know just how stupid these attacks are. The fact that you would go so low when you think that you are uh you know on the high road is very very telling about the character of who you are if you literally are willing to go there um, and to slander your fellow American brothers and sisters. Because the fact of the matter is, whether we realize it or not, we are all one. We are all here together. Especially if you're an American citizen, we are Americans. And the greatest goal for all of us should be to be united. The founding fathers would say that we either stand united or we fall. It's one or the other. You can't have a nation that is divided amongst itself. And the fact of the matter is that the left lost. They have no leader right now. They are actually being absolutely destroyed. The things that Joe Biden is doing in his final days in office are absolutely destroying the Democratic Party, believe it or not. Um, and so they are panicking, and as a result, they are coming unhinged and are using vicious rhetoric to try to take us down, manipulation and propaganda. And so it's important that we are aware as mega people, as mayha people, as patriots, particularly and citizens of the world, that we unite together, and citizens of America particularly, that we unite together as Americans and stand on our patriotism and let no one knock us down. It's time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to hold the line. This is a time for us to hold the line. And it doesn't matter what comes our way, we are going to stand behind our leader, President Donald J. Trump, and his nominees. And we ask that all senators, representatives, Congress get his nominees in swiftly and quickly so that the proper measures can be put in place so that the government that we voted for willingly and knowingly gets put in place. Here's one of the things that the left is trying to do and try to divide us. And there are some Republicans that I would no longer consider to be conservative that are part of this too. basically, oh, we've known them as anti-Trumpers for all of time. And these anti-Trumpers are doing everything they can to divide and to conquer. It's the only thing they know how to do. So what they want to do is they want to hold us back from a golden age, from greatness, from where we could be as a nation, of where we really should be as a nation. And they want to use these attacks um, to bring us down, to divide us. And they want to tell us. They continually. I see people tweeting this on X. I see, um, you know, the threads is the new old Twitter. Um, with all the bots and the trolls on there of people constantly saying that, oh, you Trump supporters didn't know what you voted for. Oh, yes, we did. Because you want to know why? Trump supporters actually attended those Trump rallies. Those crowds that you saw were real crowds. I attended those rallies. The ones I couldn't attend, I watched. I watched I don't know how many rallies. I didn't keep track. But I want to say I probably watched at least 50 rallies um, in the last year, but many, many more uh, throughout the last 8 years. Basically, I have watched many of them. And it's not only just hearing what Trump said, but it's also hearing the other speakers, the senators, the representatives, the lawyers, the businessmen, the CEOs, the union workers, all those people that cross those stage. It's hearing the crowd's cheer of USA, 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 the momentum, we joined together, the awakening that took place as part of the mega movement. It's not only just Trump. He happens to be the leader. He's the candidate. He is the America First president, because the movement is much larger than what we think it is. That's the thing people don't understand. And it's hard to help people to understand something and to convince them of what is truly happening, because people want to stay small and in their own minds and believing that what is taking place is, the way things have always been. People want to believe this is just another election. Uh, People want to believe that this is just another president. People want to believe that everything is normal, but it is not. There is nothing normal about what has gone on for the last, I would go as far as to say, the last 50, even 60 years. Basically, things have not been normal since at least uh, President JFK's assassination. There's a lot of cover up of the government. There's a lot of things that have gone on since that time. Uh, if you want to delve into, there's a lot of research that you can delve into who our presidents were since about 86. Um, they're all Rothschilds. I'll give you some hints on it. They're all Rothschilds. They're all cousins, all related. And you say, what? Uh, who are you talking about? I'm talking about the Bush family and the Clintons. They're actually related. And Barack Obama is actually also related to the Clintons and the Bushes. Um, there is actually also a possibility, if you delve into that rabbit trail, that Barack Obama is actually the grandson of Adolf Hitler. Um, there's all kinds of things you can look at into the Holocaust. Operation Paperclip is is kind of a frustrating thing to look into, to find out that the those tried of war crimes ended up in the U.S. government. So it might even, corruption goes all the way back to 1948, 1945, with the Operation Paperclip of what took place of uh, these Nazi German soldiers actually ended up as leaders in Denmark, and in other countries as well as in America have ended up in our defense departments. Some of them were our doctors. So there's a lot of different things that we were not taught in history that you can delve into if you so desire and want to look into. Some of those things we may or may not delve in or discuss on this podcast because people just are often not ready to hear the truth and it causes cognitive dissonance. And we're in a period of time, it's in the vacation time. This is what happens every election year. People have become thoroughly unhinged on social media and they are viciously arguing and attacking and basically not here to find out anything that is different than what they believe and their square box and the matrix system. So as long as we're in that kind of process, it can feel very, very frustrating. The good thing about it is, though, to encourage you is right now here at the end of 2024, basically with our election, with the Make a movement, with the Trump rallies, with the podcast really taking off, and you know, people looking to alternative news sources, what we are actually finding out is a beautiful thing that mainstream media is losing ground, and we are finding out that basically network television uh, is at an all-time low right now. From what I understand, I don't have the statistics in front of me, so I'm not going to necessarily give you statistics. But the only thing keeping network television actually alive right now is actually the ball games. People are still tuning in and subscribing to be able to watch our ball teams because that's what we Americans do, right? Um, so when we look over, we had these presidents who were all related. It didn't seem to matter whether you voted for Republican or Democrat. You kind of got the same thing, false promises. And as a result, it disillusioned a lot of people, and a lot of people quit voting, didn't even bother. I know as someone who was born and raised in California, I spent basically 25 years in California, with the exception of a couple of those as a toddler in Colorado. But, basically, and I can tell you that I knew for a fact living there in California that there was a lot of voter fraud going on. And you basically had two areas of California, San Francisco, Los Angeles, that however they voted was how the state went. And as a result, the state has been absolutely trashed. And now that I'm in North Carolina, I've been here 18 plus years now. I'm seeing our state become more and more trash as the voter fraud continues to happen. And we can't get a decent conservative governor elected. It's like you can't do it. You can't get a full party ticket here in North Carolina. And it begs the question of why. And again, we have pockets, we have Asheville, we have um, Charlotte, we have Durham. There's an area I recently found out about. It's on the northeast corner, um, where I understand is another very influential uh, area that always votes Democratic. And, you know, these are some of the things we citizens are delving into and looking at it and considering and going, why is it that this is where it's going? But I can tell you right now, I have watched North Carolina be trashed more and more like California. And it's concerning. And one of the problems we have here in North Carolina is our Senator, Tom Tillis. He's basically a rhino. He has been unwilling to have a spine and a backbone and go against um, big government. And I, in the past, have sent him letters. And you know what he likes to tell me? Oh, you're misinformed. Now, what a way to talk to your constituents, of telling your constituents who actually elected him, who he actually worked for, uh, to tell me that I'm the one misinformed and he's the kingpin that knows it all. Um, what a way to talk to people. It's very disrespectful. And one of the things that we want to make it loud and clear from our movement is that if you don't start working for us as senators and representatives, you will be primary. We will ensure that. We're not playing. This isn't a game play in time anymore. We're not here for violence. We're not here for vicious rhetoric. Yet at the very same time, we mean business, and we mean business, and we want an America First agenda. And unless you give that to us, um, we want no part of having you in government. Because the thing that the government has got to understand, the government is not our authority. I don't know how the hell we got that backwards, but we did. We gave up our sovereignty. We became afraid of them. We have allowed them to rule over us when they are not our rulers. The constitutional republic is set up in a way to where we, the people, actually are the sovereign citizens of the United States of America. And our Congress and our senators and our mayors and our chief of police, hello, everyone, work for us. And basically, they need to understand that they are not the ones that get to call the shots. But somewhere along the way, this has changed. And a lot of it has to do with our unelected officials, with the deep state, the cabal, the reptilian creatures, whatever you want to call them, that have been running our government for far too long. And that's why they hate Trump so bad. That's why they're going sideways at Elon Musk right now so bad, because these men are standing up to the deep state. And if you have never stood up to the deep state, you don't know what you're up against. Okay? I'm just a little guy here in Dunn, North Carolina, but I can tell you when you touch a nerve with the deep state, they come unglued. They come after you. They viciously attack you. If I haven't actually been attacked by the deep state directly, I've been attacked by the minions. The people who sit in front of the MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, Fox News, whatever other three-letter agency controlled news media there is out there, they're all the same. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you think that they change, oh, CNN seems to be more conservative. No, they pulled you in so they could control and mind manipulate. They really haven't changed. They have just changed their strategy a little bit to be able to pull you in, because everybody is realizing if we don't move our lines, you're going to continue to lose money. You're going to lose sponsors. You're going to lose viewers. So they've had to pull in some more conservative people just to try to get their ratings up, because they looked at the MAGA movement and they went, holy cow, look at those rallies. Look at how many people are showing up. Look at that momentum. Look at that patriotism. USA, USA, USA. How in the world are we going to compete with that? So what do you do when you can't compete with something? Sometimes you have to join them. And so that's what the news media strategy has tried to do. But the problem is they are still part of the propaganda arm. And until you realize that and turn off those fake news media and stop listening to them, you're going to continue to be in the same insanity over and over and over. You're going to be stuck in that matrix system. I don't even like when I listen to talk radio sometime, I tune out the news half the time, because it's all propaganda. I don't know whether you realize this or not, but the news media has been doing this for years, where they literally will make up stories. They will make stories of things that happen in your neighborhood. And so that's why you need to take everything that you hear, especially from these fake news media. There's a reason why Trump called out the fake news media. It's not just that he's trying to, that he's mad at them and doesn't like how they treated him. No, the fake news media goes as far as it stages crime scenes. Why is it that the news media is always there before the crime happens? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. And when you find the answer, you'll be like, holy cow, I wish I had seen that a long, long time ago. Why is it that every time a Republican president is elected, the weeks following the election, there's an increase of gun crimes, of shootings, of murders? Why is that? You can find the answer to these questions if you're willing to step outside of your box, step outside of the fake news media, matrix world, the illusion that we've been in. But you're going to have to be willing to ask questions, to do the research. This is not a time to be lazy. So listen to the podcast, but don't believe everything that the podcasters say, not even myself included. I'm here to help you think. I'm here to have these conversations, to share the things that I've learned, share with you the things that I've think about, share with you the things that I've discovered. But I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to try to change your mind. I can't change your mind. Nobody can. Sometimes you have to see just how bad the country can be run by a Joe Biden before you're willing to say, holy cow, it's time for me to realize we need something different. The things that I thought would be good, I thought socialism would be good. Holy cow, it's awful. I don't like it. This Marxism approach, this Marxist candidate that we had. So glad she didn't win. We get to realize some of these things, but sometimes you have to be shown it. You have to be shown it because people aren't able to understand these concepts, especially when they seem so foreign. It can literally throw you off. It can send you into a dark night of the soul. It can send you into an depression, when you realize the things that you've been taught are an illusion, that they were not the truth, that you were misled, that you even misled other people because it's what you knew, it's what you thought was going on. Um, and so there is so many different things like this that will boggle your mind, but also there's a lot of pushback when people, you take something like going to the moon. Did we go to the moon or was that staged? You try to tell people who saw it on television that the moon landing never happened, that it was a staged event that actually was like, a fake. They go, how's that possible? You look at the Challenger and the crash, and you find people with exact same names who are university professors and school teachers, and that they're still alive and the Challenger crash never happened. People can't take that. People can't handle the fact that Elvis Presley is more than likely alive and pastoring a church in Arkansas. People can't take I saw the funeral. I saw this and that, the other thing. How easy it was to fool people into believing lies because you saw it on television. And that is something that as this matrix system is crumbling, as we're having more people share on podcasts, as more citizens are becoming the journalists, as we're researching for ourselves, we're beginning to see and begin to realize that there's a lot of different things that are going on that we didn't realize were going on. There are a lot of people who we thought were dead who are alive, who are part of this reset, of this awakening, of this opportunity that we have to enter into a golden age, to get things right, to reset our country, and set it up for the next 100 years for success this time and not failure, to get it out of the hands of the cabal, of the deep state, to downsize our government. Now, here's something right here that is very, very interesting. Did you know that we have over 400 government agencies? Did you know when the government started, we only had 5? When our founding fathers started the government, I don't believe they ever had the intent to have over 400 agencies in the government. We have a serious problem, Houston. We have a serious problem This is a mayday, 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 so to speak, for our country. It's time to downsize. And I love the Doge concept, and I love that Doge even has an expiration date. It's not going to be a government agency that just continues on. They're going to get the job done, get out, close. So that's pretty amazing right there. So we go back to 2016. Some of us remember it so well. 2016, we had Hillary Clinton and we had Trump. We had a lot of other candidates prior to that. I personally, um, I've always been a Republican. I've always said if I could find a good Democrat to vote for, I would. But I have never found a candidate that was worth my vote that was actually had a Democrat ticket attached to it. So when we came into 2016, I was looking at all the candidates, and I was a Ted Cruz guy at that point. He had I felt like he had the ability to be able to debate his beliefs. He had the values. He had what I was looking for in a president. And quite frankly, when Trump first said that he wanted to run for president, I mean, he had done it before and then dropped out. I don't know if it was 4 years earlier, but I remember him running before and then he dropped out. And then this time he was in the running. And, you know, I thought it was a joke at first. And I didn't know what to think of him because he was not like our other politicians of what I was used to. You know, he wasn't like the Bushes. He wasn't like many of the other ones. And uh, for a minute there, I even looked at Jeb Bush, and we have another Bush. That was before I knew about how corrupt and what a crime family the Bush family was. Before I knew that Bush HW was actually a CIA agent and was involved with the assassination of JFK. It was before a lot of things. I didn't understand what a crime family that they were, their involvement in the 9/11 attacks and so forth. Those are all things for you to research. um, but they're all out there. And so, uh, I was looking at all these different candidates, and all of a sudden, Ted Cruz drops out of the race. And I go, man, what am I going to do? And so I spent a lot of time in prayer and reflection, and I realized that I was going to have to get behind Trump. Like it or not, that I was going to have to get behind him. And so you could almost say um, that I made that decision a little bit kicking and screaming, but it was it was a it was it was a decision that needed to be made. And so in 2016, I cast my vote for Donald J. Trump to be the next president. In 2017, if you remember, um, that inauguration was quite a epic inauguration. Um, because when you watch it, and I encourage you to go back and pull up the YouTube videos and watch that inauguration over and over and over and over again at your leisure, because it is very, very interesting what takes place as the military steps up behind President Trump as he's making his address. And President Trump says, I'm restoring power back to you, the people. And he points at the people, and the military turn around and goes back up. All right? Don't take my word for it. Go do your research and watch that inauguration. Very interesting. Very interesting how that happened. So, that is, he told us right then and there at that inauguration that he was restoring power back to us, the people. And at that same time, remember, the left was unhinged. They were screaming in the streets. They were started cars on fire. They vandalized Starbucks. Wait a minute. Starbucks, especially at that time, was a leftist anti-gun coffee shop. Why would you vandalize Starbucks in Washington, D.C. when that's supposed to be your friend? Huh. Man, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I remember that happening, folks. I was paying attention. All right. And so we went through, there was a lot of controversy over that first presidency. We had all these anti Trumpers come out on our side and on the other side. All right. All these different things happened. And we got for sure to 2019. And a lot of people don't even seem to remember Trump's first presidency at all. Because during this last year, I am amazed how many people from the unhinged left, especially, but even Republican moderates that sit there and were like, well, Trump didn't do anything during his first presidency. Well, Trump destroyed the economy during his first presidency. Well, it was awful during the. I was so glad when Trump got out. All those people for those 4 years wasted their life watching the fake news media and believing they're supposed to hate Trump for the very things he was actually doing to make our nation better. Everybody thought the impeachments, the false allegations, the witch hunts would take Trump down once and for all, that he would never be able to be elected again. But here's the thing. Here's where the blessing comes in. Donald J. Trump understood this mission is bigger than himself. There is one theory that the military actually approached Donald J. Trump and asked him to win in the first place. And I largely think that's true because Trump could have folded. He could have said, I'm going to go retire. I'm going to go live on a yacht. I'm going to go golf. I'm going to do all these things. And yet Trump has continued to work tirelessly for us. Went through an assassination attempt, not once, but twice at least, on his own life. And that first one, he stood up, thrust his fist in the air, and said, fight, 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 as a challenge, as an encouragement to all of us who are standing here today, who are holding the line, who understand what we're going through, who understand how important the next few days and the next month are going to be, not only for our country, but for the world. And I can tell you, we went through 2017, 2018, and 2019 with attacks from all sides for supporting Trump, for supporting an America First agenda. But then 2020 happened. The truth is coming out more and more of what COVID really was, of what was really going on with COVID in 2020. In 2020, some of us chose not to receive the supposed cure. We were attacked for that. I wore a mask for 30 days before I said, this is disgusting. This is ridiculous. And I threw my mask away. And I've never worn that stupid thing since. Because I realized it was government control. The 6-foot distance. The arrows in the grocery stores. All that stuff. We were told it was for our safety, for our protection. It was absolutely ridiculous. That year, we were attacked viciously, told that we were misinformed. Social media censored us, took down our posts. I have many friends who lost their Facebook pages multiple times. It was like we were living in a communist country, silenced, yet we kept speaking. We were resilient. We kept fighting for our very own life and for our very own freedom in our own way. Attacked again and again and again and again. And part of why I'm bringing this up is here we are in 2024 at the end of this year, and those attacks are coming back on social media with a vengeance. These same people think that because they're on holiday and they have the time to be able to come on social media and attack you because you are a Trump conservative, you are a mega person, you are a make America healthy, a great person. God forbid you're for whole milk. Oh God, they'll attack you for that one. Imagine that. Natural products that are given to us by Mother Earth, attacked for embracing that, attacked for going against the system. How dare you go against our medical system that not only gives you cancer, but gives you the cure for cancer? Oh, don't go down that rabbit trail and find out what John Rockefeller did. Don't go down that and how he destroyed our medical system and not only owns our hospital systems, but American Cancer Society. Oh, don't go down that rabbit trail. Don't do your own research. Don't become enlightened. Don't become awakened. Don't step out of the 3D and go in a higher dimension and find the truth of the illusion you're in. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stay right where you are. Stay asleep. Just keep dying. Just keep killing yourself. Just keep eating the poison. Just keep eating that pasteurized, homogenized milk. Just keep believing the poison that they're putting into our minds, indoctrinating us every day. Keep believing that your education system was instilled there to actually educate your children when America has the lowest grades, the lowest IQ, the lowest ability to be able to cope and actually learn anything and think for themselves, because common sense was taken away from us because they tried to turn us into a communist controlled, disgusting third world country. But what happened was in 2020, a lot of us, for me, it was the beginning of 2019 or the end of 2019, when it really happened, we had an awakening. We had a realization. There was somebody or something that caught our attention that got us to be able to realize, and then we began to see synchronizations. Does that sound familiar to some of you? We start seeing numbers, 1111, 444, 555, different things. There was this recognition and realization, whoa, what's going on? This understanding there are other dimensions, that we are multidimensional creatures. We weren't meant to just live in this 3D government controlled world. There's so much more to life, of understanding the need we had to love ourselves first and not just give and give and give and give and be spent and work all the time and a lot of these things. There's a realization that we are sovereign, that we have free choice, that we are placed on this universe for such a time as this. You know, Dolores Cannon and the waves of the witnesses that came for a period of time like this. The Hopi rainbow prophecy. There's so many things to tell of this time. It's my understanding there's books of the Bible that were left out that tell of this time, of exactly what is taking place, the prophesy of it. hidden from us by the elites. Oh, yeah, they didn't want you to awaken. They didn't want you to understand what was really going on. They didn't want you to see, to hear, and to realize that the things that you've been taught are illusion, that what you thought was going on was not. One of the biggest fears among the Christian world is that we would join the New World Order. We were put under the New World Order by George Hubert Walker. He got us to the United Nations. It's nothing new. We actually are leaving that New World Order and are becoming America first with new opportunities, the opportunities which the founding fathers gave us in the first place of why our nation was founded in the first place. The original Magna Carta, the original Constitution, for us to be able to worship freely in the manner we desired, to be able to live quiet and peaceful lives in all godliness and honesty, whatever that looks like for you. And yet, the propaganda arm has done a great job in brainwashing people to the point that we are here today where people actually think the murder of a CEO is actually the best thing that ever happened this year. In some ways, how have we gone so far? And yet we know the answers. We gave up our sovereignty. We gave up control. And then we allowed leaders who literally wanted to fundamentally destroy America to go ahead and do it. And at large, there was no protest. There wasn't enough movement to destroy it. People had given up, lost their way. And here we are at the end of 2024, 2025 with a new opportunity, a new ability, a new way, a new opportunity to see that we get it right this time. We elected Donald J. Trump for some specific reasons. No lefties, no anti-American people, no Marxists, no socialists. You can't tell us that we didn't know what we voted for when we voted Donald J. Trump to be our next president. First of all, we were paying attention in 2017, 18, 19, and 20 when you were not. We were paying attention to how the economy was. We were paying attention to the price of eggs, to the price of gas. We were paying attention to how great America was at that time. At the same time, we also know that those years were exposure. The swamp was exposed. We began to understand the Mitt Romneys, the Mike Pences, all these people who pose as good religious moral people, that they were actually part of the swamp and part of the people who were destroying our country. It was revealing, and it was necessary for part of our awakening to understand who the criminals were, to understand why our justice system was so corrupt. And for some of you, that's why you go, well, it was a horrible presidency. Well, that's part of the why. That's part of the why. It was exposure, exposing these people. You can also understand why Trump has not nominated any of those people to serve in his future government, because this time it's not about exposing swamp creatures so much as it's time for justice to be done, for retribution to be done, and for this deep state to be taken out officially once and for all. It's necessary for that, to remove the executive branch, to remove the government waste. And it's important to understand where we are headed with this and understand, yes, we voted for Trump. We voted for Trump because we knew exactly what he was going to do. Yeah, there's some surprises. There's some things that we have yet to see that maybe we didn't know about. There's always going to be that. But the left likes to keep bringing up these myths, keeps trying to say that Trump is going to pass a law and ban abortion in all the states. He has consistently told us he would never do that. Trump is for the exemption rules. He's not your pro-life, hardcore, Bush-type president. And that's a good thing. I actually agree with him. He takes more of the Jewish perspective, the three exception rule, that you could get an abortion if it was a result of rape, saving the life of the mother. Or what's the third option? And those are really the only times you really, really need an abortion in the first place. Abortion was never intended to be birth control. Now we have so many contraceptives, we have so many different birth controls. There's no reason necessarily to have to get an abortion. But that's one of the lies that they continually try to push, is that Trump would do that type of thing. That's not what he's about. He's about taking out the deep state. He's about fighting corruption. He's about removing the voter fraud so that never ever happens again. And we're going to hold him to it. That's what we've asked him to do. That's what we've asked Congress to do. It's time for Congress to step up and do their job. Trump sat down with Tulsi Gabbard and actually had an amazing conversation about IVF. Most people didn't know she actually has tried to have children and has been not successful. It was something dear to her heart. Trump would never remove IVF. That is one of the biggest lies, allegations, just like the witch hunts that have been used against him. There are people that actually believe the January 6th hoax because the television told them to, because their talking heads told them to. There's people that believe that Trump still will not become president on January 20th, that he will not be inaugurated. We live in a country where you have free choice, and free speech means that you're going to disagree a lot of times. It's part of being an American, is being able to be okay with that to a certain extent. But we also are a nation that does have laws. And one of the things that the MAGA movement has set about to do is literally to enforce current laws. To enforce the laws that are actually set in place. And surprisingly, many of those laws were actually set up to make us a better country. And yet, people want to go against that. People don't like change. I understand that. The older I get, more and more I don't like change. But change is something that is constant. Time changes every minute, every second. Every day is another day. That's a change. Your hair grows longer. You get hungry. Those are all changes that we face each and every day. But here we are as we end out 2024. We continue to ask questions. And there's some questions we do need answers for. Rather than turning towards each other, that's what the left is trying to do. They're trying to divide us. We're not divided. We're united more than ever. The truth of the matter is the left is actually should unite with us, because if you love America, we can unite over that. We don't have to like a candidate. We don't have to like one of the nominees. You don't have to like everything that goes on. That's the free choice we have of being an American. But if you are American who loves your country enough that you want a secure border, that you want safety, that you want prosperity, then welcome aboard. We can hug. We can get along. We don't need to let the news media continue to divide us and tell us our difference, that we're different. We need to let the has-beens like Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Scarborough, these crazy people, we need to let them truly become the has-beens that they are. Their opinion is irrelevant. They are not the experts. They don't know what they're talking about. Their job, their sole purpose is to go on the television and manipulate and control and make you believe a certain way. It's time for you to start thinking for yourself. It's time for you to realize we are Americans and we are in this together, like it or not. We don't need to be fighting. We don't need to be pointing fingers. We need to understand where we are headed, and how important this a period of time is, and how these next days are crucial for us to stay united and to recognize, yeah, we're not going to like everything. We're not going to agree with Elon on everything he does. We shouldn't, because we're not part of the cult, folks. And the left doesn't like that, despite they try to say, oh, you're part of that Trump cult. No, I wouldn't jump off a bridge if Trump told me to. You know, there's a lot of things Trump has said to do. I have said no. I refuse. A lot of us went against the COVID narrative. So we are not necessarily going to agree on everything, but that doesn't mean we can't unite. United States of America, one nation under God. We have the ability to be able to choose which God we worship, but we're still one nation under God. That's part of our allegiance, part of our pledge. Where we go one, where we go all. No one can stop what is coming. These are things that should unite us to understand. Stop bickering, stop complaining, stop the inviting, stop the injustice. Because the more we unite, the more we become an unstoppable force. I'm going to let you in on something if you don't already know this. The Democratic Party is in shambles. They do not even have a leader right now. They have nobody to turn to unite them right now. They don't have a Trump. Some people thought it would be AOC, but she's not even matching what they need. There's people that want to be the leader, but they're too extreme, or they can't. They're irrelevant. They're so far out of touch with human beings that it's impossible for anyone to connect with them, to even be able to come together and organize the party and to boost the morale. And so they're turning to the last thing they have, which is to use vicious rhetoric and come and attack those of us that are on the front line, so to speak, that continue to stand with Trump through thick or thin, to continue to be grateful for Elon Musk, who joined our movement and is here for a specific reason, to downsize our government. Elon Musk is one of those people, maybe it's because of his autism, I'm not sure, but he'll call a spade a spade. I personally appreciate that. He has a strong belief in something, we should allow that. We have RFK, who has joined our movement as well, particularly focused on the health issues. And he's right about a lot of things when it comes down to that. The whole question of why do we continue to pour millions and millions of dollars into diseases with no cure when we actually have the cure? And a lot of that is removing the poison off the shelves in our grocery stores. The poison that's in our fast food, in our oils. In a lot of ways, it's coming back to the basics of a simple understanding of some things that should have been done a whole long time ago. But some people are so stubborn, they're not willing to admit that you've been wrong. It's okay to realize I've been wrong. It's okay to admit you voted for the wrong guy. It's okay to ask questions. But I'm going to tell you this, if you're not willing to ask those questions and then be willing to receive the answer, then don't ask the question. Something that irks my ire is when people come, especially on social media, acting as if they're curious and want to ask you a question about something, a statement you might have made, but then immediately jumped into that cognitive dissonance and can't accept the answer. I understand the answer to some of these questions is very, very triggering, and it should be. Like right now, who the hell is running our country? Whoever is running our country right now has no business running this country. The fact that the news media continues to cover up who is running this country and continues to cover up the cognitive decline of President Biden shows they've covered up a whole lot of other things. And we know they have. Because in 2021, they were using a movie set to film the White House. Why? In 2021, the news media was having press meetings in New York, not in D.C. Yet they would say, reported live from Washington, D.C. They weren't. They have been complacent in a lot of different issues, and they have been a big part of the cover up for many, many years. Who is running our country right now? How is the country able to continue forward? One of those answers is the executive branch of unelected deep state officials that we need to get removed. All right. The rest of it, I don't know. I would like some answers too. As we go into the new year in just about 6 days, if that's my understanding, there'll be a vote for the Speaker of the House. How are we feeling about Mike Johnson? Quite frankly, I'm disappointed in Mike Johnson. He's too weak. He really screwed up with this recent bill, the budget bill. I feel like we need someone stronger, someone who is really behind the America First agenda. But time will tell. So that's just my feelings and opinion on him. So thank you once again for watching or listening to this podcast. Continue to like and share. I would love to hear your comments, especially if this resonated with you, if it was encouraging and informative. And we look forward to seeing you in a future podcast. Take care, be safe, happy new year.